What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Kamen Riders. We are a Kamen Rider review podcast. Today, we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Gotchard, episode 41. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. How's it going, Toby?
It's me.
It's a me. Were you doing a Mario impression there? It's a me, Toby.
No, there was no there's just it's me. I'm not a fake Italian.
Whoa, coming hard for Mario all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I just realized that Mario's kind of racist, or kind of
He's a caricature. So I don't
he
know
is
if
a
it's
caricature,
or a parody or like I don't know.
But he's not like, like an Italian could do that accent and play it up real big, like and it wouldn't be offensive. But it's coming from the Japanese, Toby. So it's like it's that makes it offensive, I think.
I
It's
don't
like
know,
it's like when I do it. It's like when I say, like gabagool, like that's offensive. I'm being offensive right now.
At a base level, you're offending everyone that knows Italian, I think.
I think so. It is weird that Miyamoto, designing this character, and he's like, you know what he needs? He needs to be an Italian plumber. That's what's gonna put this game together. What if my character in my video game that I'm making in Japan was an American, like Italian? I guess that's a question. I have placed him in America because of subsequent media. Do you think they intended him to be Italian American originally, or just Italian?
So I googled it real quick while we were talking.
Okay, all right.
Because I was curious if there was real answers to this or like just fake answers to this. His character design, particularly his large nose, draws on Western influences. Once they decided he was a plumber, Miyamoto decided to put him in New York and make him Italian, lightheartedly attributing Mario's nationality to his mustache. So we got the mustache first, and then Miyamoto said, "Man, this mustache is fucking Italian looking. Let's make him Italian."
Miyamoto, the ultimate racist here, really. When we get down to it, it's like, you know what? That guy looks super Italian because the big nose and the mushroom, or the mustache. Yeah, that's crazy. That's really crazy. I guess I knew it happened that way because I knew that they gave him a mustache because it was the easiest way in the like low resolution to distinguish like his face, like to make it look like a face where he separated his, upper face from his bottom face. Same with overalls. The easiest way to like make it look like he had arms was to give him the overalls so that his arms were a different color than the rest of his body.
Quora.com tells me that by giving him an Italian heritage, Miyamoto added a cultural touch that made him Mario a more interesting and unique character. Because those 8 bits back then, man, you needed him to know.
Can we talk about Quora.com for a minute? I don't know if this happens to you.
This is probably a more respectable and something
less offensive.
Yeah, I mean they're not so much offensive. We're both kind of stupid, and I feel like we're wading in territories we shouldn't.
You don't know that it's not offensive. You haven't heard my entire commentary on Quora.com yet.
Oh not that the Mario part.
Oh yeah.
I want to get away from Mario and into Quora.com.
That's fine. I also
the home of answers and questions.
I also want to get away from Mario because you say Mario. Quora.com. Do you have the experience that you Google things and like it feels like sometimes 90% of the time you end up on Quora.com?
It does have like only for dumb questions. It happens for dumb questions. It doesn't happen for work questions. It happens for dumb questions.
Well, that kind of leads me to where I'm going with this. Because one, shots fired, because I said I get it like almost every time. And you're like, well, it only happens for dumb questions. So yeah, I heard that shade heard and accepted. But my thought was, I feel like Quora is just Stack Overflow for stupid people. Right? Like it's like Stack Overflow.
That was gonna be my joke.
Yeah.
Like so like there's like one or two or expertsexchange.com. There's like one or two IT websites that Josh and I probably know, or a handful, where like it's this same weird blog posty thing where like someone says like, "Hey, I have a question about this," and it takes like 8 people's responses before there's a real answer.
Yeah,
and people not just like parroting each other back and forth. And like if you ever went on Quora and you looked at how questions are answered there, it's the same thing for the IT stuff. But like as an example, I just asked what's the most popular pizza topping, and Quora right here has a 3-year-old question. What is the most ordered pizza type? So like I asked it a stupid question, and now I have a dissertation from Quora about the greatness of pizza toppings.
I just went to Quora.com directly for the first time in my entire life. Literally, up until this point in my lifetime, I've been to this website probably hundreds of times, and the only time I've done it is via search. And I am finding out right now the only way to access Quora.com directly is by logging in. They literally don't let you see anything unless you log into the website. All right, I'm
You can
signing up
see
for Quora.com. No,
Josh.
what?
Josh,
Go ahead.
while you're doing your thing, this wonderful 80-year-old woman who was a former switchboard operator from 1966 to 1969 that lives in Green Bay. She's not positive what the most popular topping for the pizza is, but she would guess it would be sausage and pepperoni. I still know people who just automatically order that because at one time it's pretty much the only thing you could get. So this nice like 80-year-old woman is the most definitive answer on Quora.com for the most ordered pizza type,
And
and
she
she says
thinks
she thinks if she had to guess, it would be sausage and pepperoni together because she knows people who just order that because there was a time in her life when all you could get was sausage and pepperoni.
And here's where the bullshit comes in. Yeah, exactly. Because every search engine known to man now scrapes Quora.com, and they all, especially Google, has this dumbass like AI summary at the top of every fucking search now that you do. So you
I
type
did notice that now.
Yeah, you type in like, what's the best pizza? And Google's like, oh, don't worry, dog. I read Quora.com and I left out the part where this old lady's like, I don't know, I think this happened when I was a girl, and just presents the information to you like it's definitive. Like it summarizes the dumb thing someone said on Quora.com as fact and then presents it to you in the top without sources and just like, here you go. This is everything that you need. You don't need to look any further. Don't who cares about the details of this information? Just treat it like it's fact. Treat it like you know it to be real. Everything's real. Everything's fake. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Josh,
Yeah.
I want you to know that Patricia's answer is way, way, way less upvoted than the answer that's below hers. But she has 4 upvotes on her pizza guess. But Jim, currently a real estate photographer, used to be a lifelong student in the School of Hard Knocks as a Navy veteran, uh, who, by the way, studied unmanned aerial vehicles and drones. He wants you to know that pepperoni pizza is by far the most ordered pizza because he used to run a special at the 2 Domino's pizza places that he had franchised. Initially, it was only a 12-inch pizza with pepperoni or cheese for $5 delivered, and he sold over 800 pizzas every Thursday night.
Yeah, but that was a special though.
Yeah, but that's why it's the most ordered pizza type. He has hard facts where when he ran a pepperoni pizza special, that was the most sold pizza.
I'm so angry about hearing this now. He literally said, "Yo, dog, pepperoni pizzas are cheaper," and then is acting like that's fact for the pepperonis are more popular. No, they were just cheaper. Like if you had said sausage pizza is cheaper today, you would have sold more sausage pizza. It's very frustrating. That's really upsetting. I went to Quora.com here. I logged in. I created an account. Toby, I'm very confused because Quora.com looks like Facebook for some reason, like just the front page of Quora. Uh, and I'm presented with like different pages that look like Facebook pages. Like, you know those awful Facebook pages now that like post like AI photos and no one in the comments knows that they're fake. And it's just like, where's the upvotes for, Jesus in the jungle? And everybody's like, oh my gosh, praise Jesus in the jungle. And he has like 6 fingers on one hand and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
No, because I don't go on Facebook.
All right. Well, that's a thing on Facebook. There's a whole subcategory of Facebook now where like a bunch of old people don't know what AI images are and are getting fooled by the most obvious AI images. So like this stupid AI image will have like very obvious glaring things that make it not real, and it'll just have literally thousands of comments with no one pointing out how it's fake and everyone just being like, like, oh, thank you for your service, or like, oh, this is so blessed, or whatever. Um, Quora.com looks like this because I'm seeing a post from an account called Universal Truth, Facts, and Life, and I'm invited to follow them.
You should do that. You need facts and truths about universal life.
And this post that I'm seeing, it's labeled Nectar of Real Life. And it says actor Vin Diesel broke up with his partner for 3 years, but when they separated, he did not ask her to leave his house. He was worried that she would live in a lower level, so he left her the matrimonial home and went to rent a small apartment near her. He was also sending weekly bills for her and her daughter, as well as paying all the monthly internet, phone, and electricity bills, and completely refused any media to publish anything about their separation.
Josh, before you keep reading this,
Yeah.
I want you to know that the intellectual voice from Facebook would like me to tell you that after 6 years, his partner had an accident while returning from shopping.
Oh,
he was having a photo session, and the moment the news reached him, he stopped the photo shoot and flew to the hospital.
The internet's dead, man. What are we doing here? Like, what is this? All right, I scrolled down 2 more posts, and it's a picture of a dude who just pooped his pants. Quora.com is dead to me. I'm closing it. We're moving on, Toby.
Excellent. I want you to know that also a third source called Knowledge is Power has also posted the same exact story a week ago. So I think a new different AI, quote unquote, news page feed dumper thing is definitely just looping the story across the medias.
Yeah, has latched onto this weird Vin Diesel story for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm all
Josh,
worked up now.
Speaking of all worked up and weird Vin Diesel stories, we have a Patreon.
We do. Why don't you tell people about it, Toby?
It's a Patreon.
Uh-huh.
It's at patreon.com somewhere.
Patreon.com/the Comment Writers.
Oh, that sounds fancy. That's a good name because that's the name of the show.
Thanks. I did that.
And if you go there and throw like thousands of dollars our way,
just 3,
you can hang out in our Discord.
What else do you get?
Sometimes we watch some TV shows and make dumb comments like we have been the past 15 minutes. Wow. What a deal.
Wow. I like making you do the promo, but then me having to just punch up all the information in real time.
Yeah,
that's good.
I'm pretty good at the setups here.
Yeah. And you bring up Vin Diesel because we just watched the episode of Boon Boomjer from last week, where there's a new robot whose name is a pun based on Vin Diesel.
Oh, see, I didn't even do it because of that. I just wanted to do the worst segue possible.
I thought you were connecting those dots. That's amazing.
No. See, like, you're a good friend and a good host because you were connecting dots that weren't there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just throwing darts at a dartboard and you're like, wow, this kind of looks like the shape of a star. Let's talk about the star that we see.
You're right, Toby. I assume you're trying to keep the show running, but in reality, you're just over there sundowning. You're right. I would assume that there was some sort of connective tissue in the words that you're saying. But you know what? Fuck me, I guess.
So with this connective tissue of patreon.com/the Comment Writers for only $3 a month, you get to hang out in our Discord, which is filled with many like-minded people like Josh and myself. You know, a little smart, a little crazy, but all a lovable troop, a lovable cast. And in this Discord, you can ask us questions. Or you don't have to email us the official email for the podcast. You can just ask us fun questions in the Discord. And speaking of fun questions from out of the Discord, we have a big one this week, Josh.
We do. Comes in from Kieran. Kieran asks us, we all know...
Wait, after all that, you couldn't even let me ask the question.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you
No, I don't want to now. I'm done.
I thought... Boy, we are disconnected today. I thought that was you sending it back my way. I thought you were flying the ball back to my court. I thought you were saying like, "Hey, I'm done. You take over." So I thought I was like swooping back in to
Josh.
really
Josh, I'm done. You take over.
Okay, all right. Comes in from Kieran. Kieran says, "We all know Baby, Ginger, Posh, Scary, and Sporty. But what would your Spice names be?" So Kieran's referencing the Spice Girls, of course. Some of you out there might be far too young to know anything about the Spice Girls, but they all had fun names. Each of the girls of Spice: Baby, Ginger, Posh, Scary, and Sporty, and their names referenced things about them, like, you know, Sporty Spice wore sporty clothes, I
Yeah,
guess.
and by reference things about them, it was basically slash literally just their looks. Whatever they looked
Pretty
like,
much, yeah.
they got handed a code name based on those looks.
It was kind of like it was like it's an idol group, but in America, I guess. And that was their hook, was they all had funny names. So with that in mind, Toby, what would your Spice name be? If we were gonna resurrect the Spice Girls and we bring back these, let me look at how old is Victoria Beckham, real quick. She is 50. So if we bring back 50-year-old Spice Girls and they're like, you know what would make this group better? What if we took them and added these two random dudes? What would your name be?
So if we have to do looks, I know we have to do looks. We either got to go for the beard or being bald, and bald like Baldo Spice or Baldy Spice.
Baldy Spice, I think is good. Yeah.
I feel like that's a little too blunt, and it's not like because like oh Baby Spice, Sporty Spice, like haha these sound like fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm gonna go with Shiny Spice.
Oh, Shiny Spice is good
because my head is shiny.
Yeah.
So it's still referencing the bald. It's just not as aggressive.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any other like good angles on like not having hair, not having beard, that sort of stuff. Yeah.
There's really not. Like
Yeah,
my
I guess not.
my go-to joke in general with like how I look is basically like generic creative character number 3. Like the bald guy with the beard is pretty standard.
You're like the starting point. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like you're the blank slate that then the other people put the hair on and like put the other things on.
Yeah.
You when you created your character, you put on the Bane hoodie and then you're like, yeah, I'm done.
I have.
You know what? That's fine. I'll run around the game like this. It's all good. For me, again, yes, if we're basing it off looks, I would probably just be Lazy Spice, Toby. People would look at me and they'd be like, yeah, that dude ain't gonna dance. He's not gonna do any of these choreographies. So that would be my gimmick. I'd be lazy and I'd pull a chair out and I would lower my microphone on the microphone stand to chair height. And then I would just lounge with one leg up while everyone else dances around me. And I'd be Lazy Spice.
I feel like there's something extra sinister about like you in a chair, just like bobbing your head or nodding like supportively to like 50-year-old women that are dancing. Like I feel like it's like a real creepy overtone.
Well, I'm picturing more. I'm not just like sitting in the chair creepily. I mean, I probably am. Like, there's probably no way around being creepy here. But I'm picturing like a love seat or something. So like kind of a couch material, but maybe just for like one person or so. And I'm lounging in it. Like one leg's up on the side, and I'm kind of like leaned over. So I look comfy up there. So I'm not ogling the women that are in my dance group or anything, Toby. Just I'm there, I'm performing, but this is just how I perform via chair.
as all the best singers do.
Right, exactly. Listen, you don't see Elton John playing the piano standing up. That's not true. You do. He stands up a lot of times to play the piano.
Does he?
I think he does. Yeah, I think because he gets excited and he stands up.
I've even seen drummers stand up and play the drums, and they still like do the foot kick pedal and everything.
Me too. Yeah, drumming is like way harder than you think it would be because like your legs get so tired with all the kicking. It's too hard.
Too hard.
And then eventually you get to be like Travis Barker, and then they turn you upside down in the middle of concerts and stuff. No,
that's because it's too easy.
I wouldn't do any
like
of that.
He wants a challenge, so he's like, "Let's see if I pass out before I finish the drum solo." And he just goes.
Do you see he started like a running group or something? He's hosting like a running event.
I didn't. Did you see he's charging $1,000 for a meet and greet of just himself?
That's perfect. That's great. What the ultimate? That's just the stupidest. Listen, I like Travis Barker. He's the dude who like doesn't say a word in their live album, where the other two are just like chirping for the entire record. Like I don't know that meeting him would be that exciting. I don't see how it could be $1,000 exciting.
He didn't talk for like 25 years until the makeup song where he sang one bar.
In one bar, yeah.
I mean, it's like specific to the band at least. Like obviously he did other things with other people in other groups, but at least specifically to Blink 182. He
He
was
was so quiet.
the silent man for 25 years.
Yeah, they even do a joke, I think, if I remember right, in Mark, Tom, and Travis, where they're like, "What do you think, Travis?" And then they play crickets because he doesn't say anything. Uh, but then yeah, then he came back. Then he came back and they did interviews, and then he wouldn't shut up. Do you remember that? Like it was a brief moment in Blink reuniting where he just like talked constantly in interviews. Like he would be the one who would be speaking more than the others. No one wants that.
Navigator and I always make a joke when we watch a bunch of live stuff together, where the first time you give the drummer the microphone and actually let them talk, they're so used to not being allowed to talk that they just talk too much. Like you open the faucet and just all the words, like 10 years of words just dump out.
I think that's true. He did name his solo album "Give the Drummer Some," so maybe he's been asking for it since like whatever that came out 2010, 2011. Give the drummer the microphone. He's wanted it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Travis Barker. I've had a friend growing up who played the drums and was like obsessed with Travis Barker. And one time Travis was like in our city for something. I think he was just like minding his own business. He was like leaving like the children's museum or something stupid. And a friend of ours called my friend and was like, "Yo, Travis Barker's here. He's getting ready to leave. You need to get down here now." And my friend drove there and ran up the steps as Travis Barker was leaving so that he could have the world's most awkward interaction with Travis Barker for 5 seconds.
Nice. But that was free. It wasn't $1,000. That's okay.
It was free. Yeah, really. He fleeced Travis Barker for $1,000 because he drove his car really fast and then ran up the steps to be like, "Oh my God, I love you so much. You're so cool." To Travis Barker. And then Travis Barker never came back to Indianapolis again, probably.
That'll teach you.
Yeah.
Josh, speaking of not coming back to Indianapolis,
do
we have any email?
I thought you were going to talk about WrestleMania coming to Indianapolis for a second there.
We've had enough fun time. You talk about that next week.
We have had a lot of fun time today. So you're right. Let's move on. We do have an email this week. So we checked out the Patreon Discord question, but we also have an email address, which is cast@commonwritersucks.com. So if you would like to send us emails, you can send those over to cast@commonwritersucks.com. And our friend Shade has done just that. Shade says, "Greetings, everyone. It's time to gotcha again. Very interesting revelations in this episode and some very exciting cameos too. But before that, I'd like to bring up some cool Kamen Rider that happened this past week. The first cool thing is actually related to Ultraman. The press conference for the new series Ultraman Arc just happened, and the opening theme's singer turned out to be a familiar face. So, Toby, the person who is singing the song for Ultraman Arc is from Xaid, Kamen Rider Cronus. So the bad guy Cronus towards the end, who kind of took over as the boss, and he was the guy who was like really good at monologuing evil dialogue.
Now he's singing the hits.
Now he's singing the hits. Apparently, he did a lot of songs for Xaid as well. So yeah, he's now doing the theme song for Ultraman Arc, and it's so weird. Like only knowing him from his acting and only knowing him from Xaid to see him like dance in this video for this song. But yeah, that's very cool. I didn't know that he was a singer at all, but the song was pretty good.
Would he be Chrono Spice?
I think he would be. Yeah. Shade says, "Next up on our cool list of stuff is Hopper 1 himself. In the recent Nintendo Direct, someone managed to sneak their Hopper 1 plush into a shot." And then Shade links an image, a screenshot of the Direct. They're showing the kind of live crowd in New York. And yeah, someone has a Deno shirt on and is holding up Hopper 1 in the air, and you get to see it on camera, which is pretty funny.
I feel like if you're going to support the business like that, I feel like you can just stay on brand and not wear like Deno clothes and have Gotchard stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Maybe he was trying to show the breadth of his love for Kamen Rider. Like, look, I'm not just a new fan that only watches Gotchard. Like, I like Deno too.
I gotcha.
Then Shade tells us that the final trailer for Gotchard and Boon Boomjer's summer movie has been released. We see a lot of exciting stuff from the Daybreak timeline, like Garion's mass-produced Rider army, Kamen Rider Legend appearing to help the gang cross space and time, I guess, and yet another banger song by Back On and Flow. But the most exciting part to me is Daybreak Gotchard's new form, Shining Gotchard Daybreak. And then listen to this. We only got a glimpse of it, but dare I say this is the best Gotchard suit ever. That's high praise coming from Shade.
That's a bold bar
Yeah. I don't know
for
if
us
I
to jump
agree.
over.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I'll need to take it in as a movie and see if I agree. And then Shade links the producer's blog, and there's some interesting stuff in it this week that I want to make sure that we talk about here. So Shade says, they mentioned the cameos in the blog, but I'll do some more explaining. The delivery guys you saw in this episode weren't just ordinary delivery men. They are the protagonists of the Metal Hero series Special Rescue Police Winspector and Special Rescue Commander Soulbrain. Winspector and Soulbrain are part of the Rescue Hero trilogy. The gist of these shows is that they're basically a team of superhero first responders, which means they are simultaneously acting as police officers, firefighters, and medics at the same time while fighting the forces of evil. The
That
scene where
feels very
they
Batman-y. Like your day job is a police officer, and then your night job is cleaning up the streets by your own justice and not doing like the cop way.
Yeah, that's a little problematic, but yeah. The scene where they dramatically took off their helmets was a reference to their respective series. Yeah, I wondered what the deal was with them like whipping off their helmets like super sexy style, but that's what it was. It's because they were referencing their Metal Hero series. So that's pretty cool. And Shade says our next cameo is from the Kamen Rider Girls. They are an idol group that has been making music for Kamen Riders ever since 2011. You might recognize their work on X-Aid. For today's episode, they performed their new song for Gotchard, Gotcha 101 Chemis. In true Pokemon fashion, it's a song that lists all 101 Chemis.
That song was very exciting. We can talk about it more so when the time comes, I guess.
Okay.
But I was super hyped about that stupid song because it's basically like the Poke rap.
It is very much like the Poke Rap. And and those girls were the actual Kamen Rider girls, so that's kind of neat. They didn't just cast random actresses; they got the Kamen Rider girls in for that. And also, one more interesting thing from the blog. To quote from the blog, the increase from 1 to 3 Abyssalisk Kings was actually a fake out. All along, it was for the sake of the resurrection of Lord Garion. The production staff created Germain as a character that was going to exit the story after this two-parter, but after seeing Kosuke Asai in action and hearing Kohei Amasaki's performance, assistant producer Matsura and the rest of the staff has some regrets, though it's a secret, so you didn't hear it from me. So Shade says, it seems like Jermaine was created as cannon fodder for Garion to come back, but they unintentionally made him too cool and are now slightly regretting it. And I was bummed as well when it was clear that that Jermaine was finished. I wanted him to stick around for the long haul.
Josh, there was one time this game came out called Kingdom Hearts, where my buddy Axel, he was everyone's like favorite like anti-hero, cool guy, blah blah blah, sarcastic dude.
And don't forget it.
And don't forget, gotta have to get it memorized.
Get it memorized.
And then he died, but then he got to come back because everyone loved him so much because Nomura regretted that he didn't realize that Axel was gonna be so popular. So he got to come back.
So he just brings him back? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Should have left him dead.
Never.
Well, thanks very much, Shade, for the email. Once again, the email address is cast@commonwritersucks.com. And of course, the Patreon, patreon.com/thecommentwriters. $3 a month, you get all of our bonus content, which is quite a bit at this point, and you get access to the Discord, where, among other things, you can ask questions in our episode questions chat. All right, so we're going to jump in now, Toby, to talking about Gotchard episode 41, featuring the Metal Hero cameo and featuring the Kamen Rider girls. But before we get to those, a little bit of recap from last time. We do get the debut of the 2 additional Abyssalisk Kings, Germain and Galia. They join Gigist as a trinity. Last time we were around, we had lots of fighting. Kudo's dad is back for realsies this time, his real form. And they all want the Philosopher's Stone fragment that we find out is inside Nijigon. And Nijigon is lost. That's where this episode picks up, is that he's missing. and we're all trying to hunt them. Jermaine really wants Nijigan, and in the midst of this opening fight, we find out that he wants Nijigan because he wants to eat him.
I found that line hilarious because he wants to eat Nijigan, and Hodoro's mom made him into a delicious chicken just last week.
It was foreshadowing. We thought it was just a throwaway scene, but it was foreshadowing.
Was genius. Well played.
This was a fight, a decent fight. I didn't mind watching it. I don't know. There's too much to say about it, but I did really like one moment of it where they managed to kind of beat Jermaine back enough that he sort of falls to a knee. He clearly isn't beaten, but he kind of says like, "Oh, we're gonna have a lot of fun," and then he teleports away. And instantly, as he teleports away, Hodoro and Kudo like dehenshin, fall to the ground, and Kudo's like, "Thank goodness he left." Like that really hammered home how like outmatched they were with him, kind of in that moment of just like they barely made it, and they only are alive because he decided to leave. And I thought that was a cool line and a cool way to present that.
Yeah, definitely. Because basically, like they Gotchard Ryder kicked him to make some room,
Yeah.
and he didn't like die. He just, like you said, dropped to his knee and was like, "Yeah, this is cool. We'll do this again later." Just kind of got out of there.
Yep, I'm out. Speaking of fighting happening, Clotho is fighting Spanner. They're going hand to hand, mano e mano. Spanner's not even henshined at this point. He's just throwing down, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, like I feel like that this was the best they've done recently. Let I guess we'll call Clotho's suit actor, which is still her, but she's in like her rider suit, so I don't know how to word that properly. But it felt like it was very much of a fight to just let them both show like, hey, look, like we can do martial arts and we can do cool shit ourselves.
Yep.
So you can just watch them the whole time. There's no actors or like there's no suit people or anything. It's just, hey, watch these two pros do some sick fight choreography here.
It felt very much like we used to get in Power Rangers back in the day, where you'd have like a few minutes of fighting before they even turned into the Rangers, just because like clearly they wanted the kids to show off their choreography.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit like that in a good way. Yeah, like look at these actors go. They can do it. Um Gigas does show up here again, speaking of foreshadowing, and kind of reminds Spanner about the black flame that they supposedly share. He offers to kind of like basically take Spanner under his wing and train him, and he wants Jermaine dead. Basically, is what he points out. Spanner's left kind of wondering what his game is, like what his whole plan is, and clearly he's thinking about the black flame. So they're kind of hinting that Spanner might have a little date with the evil side for a bit, but I don't know. That might be a red herring.
Yeah, I definitely took it as he's gonna like switch teams for a little bit. He's gonna
Yeah,
go might be a bad guy when the black flame power or whatever overtakes him, whatever. In that scene, his now almost human abyssal sister friend at the end of his like sad moment or his realization of like, oh yeah, I have the black flame in me, I might be a monster. She gives him like a very loving little grab on his back of like,
yeah,
hey buddy, you're okay. I thought it was amazing. Like they're doing a really, really, really good job of showing her now humanity without just being like, look at me, I'm a human, here's hugs, I love you guys. Like they're just doing like little bits and pieces every week of like she's joining them, she's accepting what humanity is, she wants to be a person, or however you want to word it, but like I think they're doing a really good job with her, specifically with that stuff.
yeah. I think so too. I think they're nailing that, and I think they're really nailing his interactions with her too, where he's gone from like outright rejecting her to saying, "Listen, I'm only here because I'm protecting the research," right? To now where she kind of like does that sort of like loving tug on his jacket, and he doesn't say anything, right? He like lets it happen, and he kind of turns into her a little bit. Like he's okay with it now. That was a nice slow burn, sort of, in over a few episodes to let him warm up to her as she kind of like adds to her humanity too.
Yeah.
Which made me think if he goes evil, if he goes bad, she's just gonna be his like right hand girl for a bit, maybe or something. I don't know. We'll see. Or maybe
It did
she's or she's the one who pulls him back from it, or something like
Exactly.
that. Yeah,
That would be my guess. Like, because since they're basically the same, they're the same rider, effectively. Like,
yeah,
if he goes evil, she'll be the one to beat the shit out of him to like smack sense back into him. Of like, you wanted me to do all this for you guys, and now you're like screwing me over. Hey, by the way, now I'm gonna kick your ass. So you come back to me. Deal.
yeah. I could definitely see it happening that way. That makes a lot of sense. Next up, we get to see a quick little scene where Atropos wants to remind Kudo to keep her promise. Like, hey, you're gonna kill that dude, right? Kudo's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it.
We had a deal. I pinky swore. That's as good as blood.
And the Rubik's Cube continues to throb, which is a weird sentence to say, but we'll find out more about that later in the episode. And then Toby, Nijigan hits the city. he's out he's out looking for a job. And first of all, the concept of him looking for a job because Spanner told him or said that chemis were only good for fighting is like a fucking Jar Jar Binks-esque premise. Like, I think Nijigan is the Jar Jar Binks of Gotchard. Like, you took this the completely the wrong way, and now you've taken it to like the comic extent of just you're just out looking for a job and trying different jobs out. And I think Nijigan might be a little annoying. I don't think I like Nijigan. I'll say it again. He's taken the screen time away from Hopper One. I like Hopper One a lot better. He's way better as a little mascot guy. Nijigan's just a little too annoying.
I like that they've taken both actual giant plastic toys that they have and turned them into movable characters that have both gotten a chunk of their own episode. And
That's true.
especially taking the little plastic toy that has like human speech on an adventure to like go talk to people and make people's day brighter and shit like that is like extra wacky, but it's fine.
It is wacky, yeah. The couple like interactions that he had with people, or like even just the delivery guys like talking about his interaction was cute and fun. I did like that. But in this particular scene, Nijigan happens upon a girl dancing. Her name is Mai, and basically she just quit her idol group, and she's sad about it. She thinks that other people are better than her. So why is she even doing this? She's really clearly she has like some imposter syndrome going on, and she's like, I'm not even going to the event today. And Nijigan is sad for her, basically.
So we answered all the questions as we went gone now. But as soon as she showed up, I was like, is she actually an idol? And then we've confirmed that if the Kamen Rider girls are idols, then yes, she is. Or if not, she's at least in an actual band, a
Yeah,
group,
she's
whatever you call it.
yeah, in an actual group, an established musician, I guess we'll say, not just a random actress because they wanted to have an idol group in the episode. Like I think that they wanted to feature the Kamen Rider girls in this episode, so then they wrote this around them, basically.
So this is the second time now that this has happened in general. So first in Geats was that American dude that went to Japan who loved Kamen Rider and got to be the bodyguard from Neon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And this season has the Kamen Rider girls who I would assume, other than just in name, aren't actually associated to Toei, right? That's probably a safe assumption. Or am I?
I don't know. I think they might be official. Let me see if
Oh,
I can find that out.
because I was gonna say if they're taking like fans every season to put in an episode for one day, I
Yeah.
think if we keep doing this dumb podcast, I'm pretty sure we're getting on the show. Maybe like not next season, but maybe 2 seasons away. Like that's gonna wrap around like, I wish I was a podcaster, and then like the comrades can come and be like, you guys can do it, don't worry. And it's gonna be a whole nice little thing.
Okay. The Kamen Rider girls were put together by Ishimori Productions. And Ishinomori is the basically the guy who created Kamen Rider.
Okay.
So they're at least like directly related from that. Like he created the Kamen Rider manga, and then his production company was part of the creation of the Kamen Rider girls in 2011. So that seems official. Let's see. They were also created by Avex Tracks, which is a media conglomerate. Let me see if it's like any Toei related thing. At least not directly that I'm seeing, but
Yeah, like Toei just partnered with Avex to do the thing, but it's not like specifically Toei's.
It seems like maybe, but then like they are like coming from the Ishimori side too. So I think they're basically as official as you would want them to be, or as they could be. Like they're they were created to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Kamen Rider, and they seem to always be very, very directly putting out songs related to the new writer in the way that like they're involved in production type deal. You know what I mean? Like each year they seem to get like uh either featured in episodes or put out songs like directly related to that writer.
Yeah, like
Um,
they're in O's at some point, so we'll
yeah,
we'll see them. Hopefully, we'll know. They were in Forza. They were in a bunch of some other stuff, and apparently they used to dress up more specifically as riders and wear like the belts,
yeah,
but they wanted to stop making them specifically tied to if one of them wore a Kuga belt, for example, they would lose me as a fan. But they wanted to make them generic, where they're just like Kamen Rider girls, so I don't have to know who their favorites are, so I can still stand them a little bit and enjoy the music from the Kamen Rider girls.
you got to be able to stand them. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy. This is an idol group that's been running since 2011 too. Like they clearly have like changed out some members and stuff, but uh like that's a long running group for you know for an idol group. But anyway, in our next little scene, we get to meet the delivery drivers, as we mentioned, and they're fun. They talk about Nijigan helping them unload the truck, uh, which is again hilarious. That he's like, "Hey, I can do this job." He starts picking up boxes. And the other thing that I really liked here is that as all the kids walk off, the delivery drivers get mind wiped by Professor Minato. We had
I
not
said
seen a mind wipe for a little bit.
they had to bring it back, and like I was just laughing because Nijigan's like fucking up the way the world works by just
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm a little talking robot dinosaur, and everyone. I think it's funny that it's just accepted. Like the idol girl seeing a robot and him being like, "Hey, I like to dance. Don't worry," and her just being like, "No, this is a thing, sure." And then she's a little bit younger, so I can kind of understand just being like the fun thing. But then there's like the delivery guys are pretty old, and they're
Yeah.
like, "I don't feel like unloading boxes. The little robot's gonna put on a hard hat, and he's gonna do it." And I know it's to do the fun thing of like, hey, look, this is what a Chemi world can look like if Chemis are friends and get along with humans and everything. But it's just so absurd that like everyone just allows this. Like you would have so many more questions then. Thanks for moving boxes for me, little robot. I'll see you later.
I especially loved the delivery guys too. In that vein, they're like, "Oh, are you talking about Nijikon? Oh yeah, yeah, he was here earlier. Yeah, he, like they're just like, yeah, he was by, and then he left. Like no big deal. Like he came by.
Yeah,
Uh,
he moved some boxes and we had some snacks. It was a really great time.
yeah, we just hung out for a bit. No big deal. They yeah, so nonchalant about it. When they're full on living the Detective Pikachu world where the Pokemon hang out in the streets. Yeah, that was great. I liked that as a concept. It's like especially the fact that they're completely nonplussed by meeting him and hanging out with him, and then they still get their mind wiped because of it. they're, they're not even not even upset that it happened. It barely even registered as like a thing to remember about their day, and then they get mind wiped. But because of their wonderful tip, Toby, we track Nijigan to an idol competition, idol dream performance, where the I Rise girls are performing, which is Mai's group in the show. But unfortunately, Toby, one of the I Rise girls is missing. It's Mai. She's not there.
I'm
But
kind of irritated they didn't use real bands and they
yeah,
used like fun TV show bands instead. To
they
be
did.
honest with you.
Yeah. Um, but unfortunately, Toby, or fortunately, I should say, Nijigan shows up to fill in for Mai's missing performance. And once again, these two girls on stage take this in stride that this floating, talking, plastic dinosaur dragon guy is like, oh, hey, don't worry. I can fill in for your dance. Like, they're like, all right, let's do it. Let's go.
So it was kind of hard to tell the I'm vaguely rewatching it as we go here. So as soon as Nijigan so like he says he's gonna dance with them, and they still seem skeptic. I just double checked. So he hits the room with the rainbow breath first, and then everyone gets hyped together. So
So
he
he
kind of
he
cheated and like spiked the punch,
he
and
drugged
then
him.
and
Yeah.
then it became the crazy happy time everyone knew and loved. But I don't think they were actually like they were like, oh wow, a talking robot, and then they kind of just let it go. But I think he motivated them with the power of magic to make this a real thing.
Yeah, he gassed him up, quite literally.
Yeah.
That's not ethical. uh, so I don't want to be a fuddy duddy here, Toby, but I'm gonna be a little grumpy about something. So I really like this song as a song because, like you said, it's like the pokey rap. They say all the names of the chemis. I think that's great. When I started realizing they were saying chemi names, I was into it. But then in the world it makes no sense, right? Because no one but the alchemists should know about chemis. So why are they singing a song in the world with all the chemi names in it? What's
Well, I
going on
mean,
here?
I guess it's like any other song. Like you just hear lyrics. You don't really think about. I don't know because well again, so like at a base level, I feel like whatever words you make up for a song, people just accept it.
Sure, but how
Like
would they know these words?
because you still know words.
Yeah, but you don't know what ant trooper is.
It just sounds cool. But on the opposite of that, again, remember, everyone got hit with the rainbow breath first.
So
So I
that's
guess with the
yeah.
love and the power of Nijigan, they were like out of nowhere. They're like, "Holy fuck, I love Apari Bushi, or the hell his name was."
So that's what I was gonna ask you is if that was gonna be their song prior to Nijigon hitting him with the rainbow breath, or if Nijigon is like, listen, I'm taking this performance over. This is about chemis now. And I think it might be that one. I think he might have mind controlled them and made them sing the pokey rap, but about chemis instead.
Yeah, I guess it more so be like towards the vibe of, hey, if I'm gonna push this world of all of us love chemis and we're gonna be friends and that kind of shit, I guess the best way to do that would be to tell them all your friends' names real quick so they don't get scared if they see them. Like, hey guys, my buddy Ant Trooper's coming. Don't worry about him. He's pretty cool too.
You see a guy who looks like an ant, kind of militarized, but he calls himself Ant Trooper. Be cool about it, please.
Yeah, like that's again, this is all just wild speculation with this random show, but
Yeah, that's what we do here.
yeah.
But it was fun. Kajiki is in the audience, and they make a joke. He gets like thrown out, and I think Renge makes a joke. Was like, man, he's everywhere.
He's always here with the wacky stuff.
Yeah, just very funny. Then the performance is over. We're all backstage, and everyone gets reunited. Hodoro runs back and finds Nijigon. He's so happy to see him. He tells him not to run off. And also, Mai shows up and she's apologetic. She says she saw Nijigon dance and he lifted her up, made her feel warm inside, and helped her remember her love for dancing. So she wants to rejoin the group, and they're happy to have her back. So everybody's back together.
Not that it really matters, but with the way they set the episode up, I feel like him talking to her in the streets felt like more of the motivation of like that should have been the speech where she like I expected her to rejoin the team right before the dancing started versus him to join the dance team.
Yeah.
So that I guess that kind of swerved me, but that seemed like a more natural progression of how that should happen to me.
It only worked because then they had a second performance, which happens right now. Because if they didn't go perform again, it would have been especially weird that he took her spot in the big thing that she'd been building up to. But he used that one to motivate her, and then the next one she gets to actually be a part of. So we do get another song from them, and it plays over top of this next fight because Minato shows up and says Jermaine's on his way, and everybody has to run outside and start fighting. The whole crew is here. Even Spanner is ready for the fight, and the Iris Girl song kind of becomes "What's Your Fire?" because again we play songs over the entire fight. This one, like we always do, and this is a big fight. Which so like to start off, I really liked everybody's beaten up. Like Spanner, Hodoro, Kudo, everybody's got like like a bloody chin or something, or like a scrape on their cheek. Like everybody is like clearly been through it, which is a cool way to start the fight. And then this is a huge fight because they pull out everything, all their tricks. They do like the drone footage. There are like a crazy amount of explosions in every direction in this fight. They do like CGI'd things that are being alchemied and thrown at the bad guys. Like those are flying all over the place. Like there's so much more on screen than there is during like a regular fight, I feel like. So they're blowing it up big for this one.
Yeah.
And it was good. I really liked it. In kind of as this fight is happening, we find out that Nijigan's Gotcha is cheering people on. That's what he decides, which fits, I guess, from this episode. Also, I wrote down at one point in this big fight, we get a full on like German suplex because the wrestler G form just grabs Jermaine and just suplexes him, which I really liked. And the kind of big finish involves like 4 copies of Hodoro because now we can do that, kind of all joining forces. And then we do like a big giant rider kick with everybody. And yeah, Jermaine gets defeated, gets wiped out.
Guy's ass kicked.
He did. I was sad to see, like I said, I was sad to see him lose. But that fight, it was just like all stops pulled out. So it, even though, you know, he'd only been around for an episode before this, it did feel pretty final, and it didn't feel like we were just sort of like defeating him just to defeat him. Especially because once he's down, he isn't like completely gone. He's on the ground and he sees Atropos walk up, and he instantly wants to eat her so that he can regain his strength. I love that his answer for everything is just like, I'm gonna eat that. Go ahead and let me eat that.
Well, I guess because in theory, with I can't believe I'm defending this horse shit. Like in theory, with the premise they sold us of they eat those dumb voodoo doll things. Like the sisters are those dumb voodoo dolls. So
That's true. That's true.
I guess in theory it checks out as this could be a thing, but you know.
Well, he wants to eat her. There's a moment where Kudo's like worried that that's actually going to happen. However, Atropos just walks up to him and sticks the Rubik's Cube in his chest, and then he kind of morphs and turns into Master Garion. Master Garion is back, and he has some new clothes. He looks way shinier than before, and yeah, he basically he takes over Jermaine's body. Jermaine kind of like morphs into Garion. So one thing I learned from this, from reading the producer's blog, is because Garion now has he contained in, or he contains contains Jermaine's body. Garion now has the portion of the Philosopher's Stone that Jermaine had, so that'll probably be relevant going forward. And Garion says, like, first thing he says when he pops back up, he looks over at like the good guys, and he's like, "Ah, the very faces that haunted my dreams in the abyss," which is one of the most badass things I think a bad guy could say.
So we've seen it multiple episodes before tonight, and then I feel like it kind of not confirmed it, but made it make sense to me now. So the dumb Rubik's Cube has randomly thumped here and there over the past weeks.
Yep.
So since she jammed it in the guy's chest, was the Rubik's Cube just always Goldman's heart? So she put like his heart back into the big monster, and that's why he came back to life?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a fair thing to say. Yeah. Well, you know, and he like, his whole thing is like gold alchemy. So the gold touches the gold and then becomes the, you know, whole person, takes him all over. And we saw him make things like, you know, let gold consume you and stuff like that, like he was doing. So now
All this wacky shit.
He's the gold that is doing the consuming now. Yeah. Yeah, I you know, obviously it's nonsense, but I think it works from a things they've shown us before standpoint.
And that's the most irritating thing, really. We're like, they they create the wackiest rules because then they use them, and they always use them like, I'm not gonna say well necessarily, but like it works. Like they set this random facts of like, hey, you know, these monsters eat the dumb dolls. So then when the little sister comes by, he goes, I'm gonna eat you, And then in their way, it sounded like really stupid and kind of weird. But when you think about it, you're like, oh wait, well he does eat them. Like
Yeah.
they eat everybody else. So I guess that is a good threat of I'm dying, but I'll just eat you, and then I'll feel better.
And reading the producer's blog, especially too, where it points out those little details like that of like, oh, we connected this dot and this dot, and that's why we did this, has really hammered home some of those points for me. And like you said, they're silly and they're goofy, but like it's just connective enough that it's funny and it works.
Yeah.
And I appreciate those sorts of deals. So yeah, kind of a surprising episode, I think, for me here. Um, I was surprised that Jermaine is gone this quickly. I thought that the Abyssalus trio would stick around and kind of be thorns in the side for the last arc of the series. I figured that Garion would come back, but I didn't really see it happening like this, and I didn't see it happening this quickly. So that's all interesting, and I think that tells us that clearly, like, Garion is like the big bad main threat, and it was always intended that way based on the producer's blog. But yeah, surprised to have him back at this point. And I liked the Idol girls. I liked the Kamen Rider girls. I think that was neat to include them. And it was a really banger of a fight too at the end of this episode. So I think there were lots of fun parts that I enjoyed.
Yeah, like overall, a good chunk of like all this was like fantastic. Of like, sure, it's kind of stupid that Yurion's like the final guy again, but I guess it always made sense.
Yeah, totally.
Like
Like
it just
he
seemed
was
okay. Of like, okay, like he was there in the beginning, he might as well let him be here in the end. Obviously, the little sister missed him entirely too much the entire time for him not to come back.
right,
So like,
exactly.
so now he's here. Like we're good.
Yeah, I think that he was gone for a big chunk of the show, really, if you think about it. But yeah, like she'd been pining for him, and like her interactions with like all of the other bad guys had been like, so you're gonna bring him back, right? But we're gonna bring Garion back, right? This isn't gonna happen. So I think that's enough connective tissue that it makes perfect sense that now he's back, and like, yeah, and I kind of dig it for sure. I'm interested now to see. So we killed the one Abyssalus King. I'm interested to see what happens with the woman. Like, she has not really been super involved in fights before. We didn't mention it, but before the big fight here, she tells Jermaine, like, you know what? My divination is completed. Today's the day that you win. You get the Philosopher's Stone, man. You're gonna do it. And then he goes and gets his ass kicked, and he gets turned into Garion. So clearly she's not very good at this whole divination thing, or she was lying. But I'm interested to see if she joins the fight, or if now she just runs away, or kind of what happens. I'm assuming Garion will not super enjoy the fact that Gigist and her are around, and he will want their portions of the Philosopher's Stone. So they might not be long for this world. We'll have to see.
We shall see.
All right, folks. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and yeah, we hope you're enjoying us talking about Gotchard. If you would like to hear us talk about more nonsense, the Patreon's a great place to find that. Patreon.com/the comment writers. Once again, currently we are watching Boon Boomjer as it comes out each week and really loving that show. It's super, super fun. So if you want to watch that along with us, sign up for the Patreon. We are also currently watching through Kamen Rider O's. We just started that series. Now is a perfect time to sign up and catch up so you can watch along with us there. We also just finished X-Aid, so you can go back and watch all of our X-Aid episodes, all of our Black Sun episodes. Lots to check out on the Patreon. $3 a month, and you get access to the Discord as well. Once again, patreon.com/the comment writers. And yeah, it's cool to see the Patreon grow little by little. See if people join up. I think people are hopefully digging it. But yeah, we'd love to hear your feedback on that stuff too, and stuff you'd like to see us check out in the future or see us do. We always love to hear those things too. And of course, you can ask questions on the Discord. You can also send us in emails, cast@commonwritersucks.com. We love getting those too. So once again, that is going to wrap us up for this week. We'll be back next time, though, to talk about Gotchard episode 42, and we hope you join us for that. But until then, have a great week, everybody. Peace.